The Ordinary Discussion Podcast.
Testimonies are such a great way to get to know people and to understand where they are in their faith journey. It's hard to have grace for someone when you don't know their backstory.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I know personally, it's helped me so much to be able to understand someone better, knowing, okay, well, that's what they went through. That's where they've been. Now I can kind of walk through them to where they're going. So this is definitely one of my favorite sessions. It seems rather early in the year, especially if you don't know each other well. But like I said, I think it is paramount in getting to know the people in your group better.
Yeah, I do too. And I say this all the time, so I'm certainly not correcting Emily. But you said the off week. I say it all the time too. Let's call it the non-study week, because I'm just so afraid when we say the off week that people think the intentional relationship week is not important, you know? And so We talked about that last session, but so trust me, I say it more than Emily does. But yeah, I agree. So another thing that I would recommend is leaders go first. And the more vulnerable you are, most likely that'll set the stage for the rest of your group. And trust me, I mean, you may be listening to this and like, oh, this is another kumbaya session. This is going to be weird, whatever. It's actually kind of healing to talk about your story. And when I say tears, like, I mean, I get emotional when I talk about my father's passing and you know, what it meant to my life and my spiritual journey. All right. I mean, I can feel a little bit of tears welling up right now just thinking about my dad. It's healing for me, but I think it's also moving. It's not like we're sitting around like crying about our sorrows. It's more like, you know, I remember a man in one of my groups had a child that was in a hospital, and he was riding to just born or soon after, and was driving to the hospital, and the child was on his deathbed. And he was saying a prayer like, God, if you will spare his life, I'll change my life. Like, I'll get serious. If like, you know, he kind of made a pact with God. And I remember getting emotional in that moment. So it's not this like weird, like soppy, you know, love story type thing. It's these really deep conversations that people are having about their life. And a lot of these stories, and what we encourage people is to think about these relevant events that have happened in their life that really shape their history. And when people talk about that, it just can bring emotions. And but it usually is extremely encouraging for those around you, you know? And so I would just say it's important. I think it's important for you to be vulnerable, because I do think it's healing and it's revealing. But I also think it's great for your group, because then you can see, like you said, it reveals their journey. And then when they react a certain way, like it's interesting. Like if you hear a guy talk about how he didn't have a father growing up, and because of that, he has anger issues. And then at some point in the group, he reacts in a way that you're like, whoa. And you're like, well, I see where that comes from. I can have a lot more. This is a high grace, high challenge. Yeah. I can have a lot more grace for this guy, because I realize the challenges he's been through in life. Like, this is crazy. And so I do think it's a really important session.